Hello and welcome everyone to the ISCA Thursday Night Cup Series here for the Asus, however you pronounce it, 200 at Dover Motor Speedway. Definitely been watching a little bit of practice here and definitely excited to see what this race holds. Of course, my name is Brian Britt and I am joined in the booth by Big Al. How you doing tonight, Big Al?
Hey, doing pretty good there, Brian Britt. Well, I don't know how you pronounce it, but yeah, glad to be here tonight, man, with these Aces guys. I think we're going to have ourselves quite the show and the spectacle. And, the Monster Mile here, that is what this track is. And I think old Miles out front greeting everybody is just going to show us just what we're in store for here tonight, as this race has championship implications written all over it.
Yeah, it definitely does. Of course, looking at the championship points here coming into tonight's race, this is, of course, the last race of the playoffs here, or should I say the Cup Series. We'll be starting a new season coming up next week. As you know, the ISCA is like Walmart, they never close. We always have races no matter what. There is no such thing as an off season here. So every week there
Yeah,
is
you're
some
right.
racing going on. What's
Yeah,
that,
you're
Big Al?
right. I think you're right there. Just even the way Kenny treats us, we feel like Walmart, you know, employees.
That's right. But looking at the points here, Mark Pageant essentially has it pretty much locked up when it comes to points. He's about 57 points ahead of Kenny Powell. So I do believe we can go ahead and safely say Mark Pageant will be crowned the champion. But I think it's going to be a close battle for Kenny Powell and Derek Heitman for that second and third position, depending on if Heitman actually shows up. I do not believe I see him actually in the field. But I do believe Matt DeCiani is fairly close to Heitman when it comes to points, so we could see that third place position change there. Greg Wychynski, of course, is sitting fifth right now. Al Kozlowski in sixth. They're pretty close, so we could see some moving throughout this standings here. Jeffrey Souza sitting in seventh. Andrew Griesbaum in eighth. I haven't seen Griesbaum in a few weeks here, so I don't think he's going to be moving around very much. But we do see Don Avery sitting in ninth. He's not far back from Griesbaum there, so we could see a change there. Wayne Grassi, of course, not far back from Don Avery, too, so if Don Avery has a bad night, could see that change, Big Al.
Absolutely, but I would be remiss if I didn't say I'm kind of an Avery fan. So always hoping for the best for that guy.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're just a fan of Sherry.
Wow, you're so inappropriate.
Well, I don't know. You're always shouting around. I'm just playing around. But qualifying, of course, is underway right now. Let's take a gander at the race facts for tonight's race. Taking a look at it, of course, the Asus 200 here at Dover. 200 laps we have on the docket tonight. Stages are 40, 80, and of course, race ends at 2:01. Five sets of tires, four actually going to be down in the pits. Fuel window is 72 laps. So that is quite the run, Big Al. And this is a place that's very, very hard on tires. So I don't know if you're going to be able to make a whole run like 72 laps before the fuel actually runs out. I mean, that's a long way to go.
Yeah, a lot of drivers are going to try to do that, just trying to make, as you say, hey, while the sun is shining, you got to do the best you can. These concrete tracks, though, concrete tracks are really hard on tires.
Yeah, very much so. And also one thing that's quite tricky about this racetrack too is the way the banking is handled here. I mean, it's almost like a cross between Martinsville and Bristol. I'd say is the best way to kind of describe it. But when you're going from you're banking into the corners and you come up onto the straightaways, there's a big change in the banking there, and it almost acts like a bump, Big Al. And
It is
and
a bump.
yeah, and a lot of times you can lose it on that if you're not careful or if you're getting onto
Yeah.
the gas too hard on exit.
Yeah, this track is all about throttle control, and anybody that has raced this track understands that no matter how much horsepower you got under the hood, it's all about how you transfer that to the tires. So tonight, as we are now wrapping up qualifying, I think the biggest thing for us to see is just how well these guys are going to be able to manage all of that horsepower, Brian. Because we come back here to Dover, and a lot of people don't understand this, but this next gen car packs a wallop. I mean, she handles different. She has a lot more power. She puts that power down onto the track different. And kudos to these guys for figuring out the nuances of this whole new setup and package here this year. It has really made this season quite exciting for us, even up in the booth. So as this thing kind of draws to the end, it is kind of bittersweet, but I think we just got a whole lot more excitement in store for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's bittersweet, but, of course, as I mentioned before, ISCA never really stops. Not sure what next week's going to hold, though, track-wise. Actually, no, I do know what it's going to be. Kenny Pound told me just yesterday. Charlotte Motor Speedway is going to be next week. So definitely going to be an interesting one there. I don't think we've been to Charlotte in quite some time, so I'm curious what the setups are going to look like there for all the drivers. We'll have to wait and see for sure, as looks like qualifying is starting to ramp up, as you mentioned. Don Avery right now at the top of the board with a blazing fast lap. I thought the laps in practice were fast. Josh Schaffner, of course, was top of the board in practice, but Don Avery hitting a 22.399. That is one of the fastest laps I've seen all week.
Yeah, absolutely. And Don Avery, that's my guy. So he's going to be all right here tonight, and hopefully he'll be able to put on a good show for us and keep that thing out front, man, because like you said earlier, this track's all about track position, and the clean air is the green air. So looks like we've got about 15 seconds left in qualifying. Let's wrap this up. Let's go ahead and hear that beautiful national anthem, and then we'll be right back with your grid and get ready to start this party.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I feel comfortable, bro. We get a hug. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and we have our 14-car grid set here for tonight's action here for 200 laps. Don Avery qualifying on the pole with the aforementioned 22.399. Second place is going to belong to Mark Pageant, with third place being Josh Schaffner. Fourth place is going to be Darren Mullins. 5th place is going to be Greg Wachinski, with 6th place being Kenny Powell. 7th place, Mark Sanchez. 8th place, Al Kozlowski. 9th place, Wayne Grassi and Paul Olson, rounding out our top 10.
Derek Jacobs lines up beside Ryan Strunk. Wes Dobbs lines up beside Andrew Layton, and that rounds out our 14-car field. Everybody here tonight got to be pumped up. Track temperature is nice and cool. Guys going to try to make this last one count.
Yeah, of course, the track temp, as you mentioned, is kind of cooler. It's 86 degrees on the actual track. That's pretty much in what the officials have been this week. I've actually watched quite a few races. Didn't participate in them. I've just been watching them just because Dover, you mentioned it before, is such a tricky track, and I don't want to get out there and wreck anybody.
Well, yeah, and that's definitely going to be the sentiment of the majority of the drivers that we have lined up in this field tonight, because this track lends itself to a lot of single car spins, but nobody wants to be the guy that tears up everybody else's equipment. So as we get ready to start rolling around with the pace car, your drivers are going to be definitely starting to focus on what they got to do. You got to hit those marks. They got to be right. And Brian, if this thing does go green, it's going to even be that much more exciting trying to navigate those green flag pit stops.
Yeah, and I think this has the potential to go green. It just depends, really.
Most definitely.
Long run is going to be important here, and I think a lot of guys are going to start to get spread out a little bit. But some guys are built for the long run. Some guys are built for the short run. It really all depends on if how the cautions kind of come out. If a late race caution does end up happening, that could cause the person with the short run car to be in the optimal position. And also tires. I mean, if you decide to go down pit road at one point and someone else decides to go down a little bit later than you and they have the fresh tires, I mean, track position is important, but if they have newer tires than you, it's going to be like they're passing you like you're standing still.
Yeah, the key is going to be getting the car down, to that pit road speed, because once those tires get worn on the concrete track, the hardest thing you can do really is to try to slow this beast down, put a lasso on it, and get it down into a stall. I mean, you're talking about a bucket Bronco if you've ever seen one here.
Oh, this is one of the hardest pit roads to navigate in a NASCAR, I'd say, just considering really you have to start slowing down for pit road right when you enter turn 3. And the banking on the apron is so much different than the actual racetrack itself. So you're going to see guys that maybe even might hit the pit road barriers trying to get into this road. We'll have to wait and see how that kind of works out. As see, the pace car has dipped down pit road. We're entering the Geico restart zone right now. And there is the green flag. Don Avery gets it up going quickly. Mark Pageant not with a bad start. It looks like Don Avery is going to be cleared going into turn 1. Still side by side for second place as Pageant actually drops down to the bottom here.
Yeah, Mark Pageant's just going to be trying to figure out what he's got to do to get around this track as quickly and efficiently as possible, as everybody is starting to get ready to go as we're just now getting these laps underway.
Yeah, definitely. This is a track to where you want to try to get the tire temps up too, because you don't want to be going at it really hard for the first 5 laps. Just considering, anytime you heat the tires up too quickly, it's not going to be very good for you later in the run.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I don't know how patient drivers are going to be. I'm not sure if they're going to actually risk it early. I don't know. I'd like to get a little racy. I would like to do it, especially in the first segment.
We see a lot of passing going on, still a lot of side-by-side going on throughout this pack. But it looks like everybody is getting settled out. We do see a little bit of battling going on, I do believe, between Kenny Powell.
We are seeing a lot of different paint schemes out here tonight, too, as well, Brian.
Yeah, for sure. And the guy that was battling Kenny Powell, of course, is none other than Ryan Strunk. Strunk has had a great season thus far. Definitely going to be trying to get his way through the field. That's kind of his MO. He always drives through the field. Here comes Kenny Powell on the inside of Josh Schaffner. Of course, this is for 3rd place right here, and it looks like Schaffner not putting up much of a fight. I think a lot of that comes down to Schaffner's always wants to save his tire, and I think that's exactly what his his game is here tonight. Is now here comes Ryan Strunk on the inside, going to be challenging for that 4th place position. And it looks like, Schaffner going to give it right up. He gives it up to John Mullins as well. The Don Avery still out front right now, has about a little over a half a second on Mark Pageant. Looking at lap times, though, I do believe Pageant is starting to catch up a little bit here. Just a hair faster that last time by. It looks like Kenny Powell has let Ryan Strunk go. So Strunk has quickly climbed his way up into that 3rd place position now. Take a nice cockpit camera here through Kenny Powell's eyes as he's sitting in 4th place right now. You can kind of see just how big this banking is as he goes into these corners. And in the middle of the corner, carrying 150 mile an hour. I mean, that is incredibly quick, and that's what the banking kind of does for you here, Big Al. As you see, Ryan Strunk has gotten by Pageant.
You just got to let it kind of eat, if you will. Let the big dog eat, and that's exactly what Kenny's doing. Nothing to lose here, so he is definitely going to be using that banking to turn that car as he navigates these miles around the mile.
At the Monster Mile. Miles the Monster, as you mentioned earlier, will pick your car up and eat it for breakfast. This place is quite rough for sure, as we see Ryan Strunk quickly catching up to, I do believe, Don Avery. It looks like Kenny Powell has navigated his way around Mark Pageant here. John Mullins also starting to drive his way closer and closer. He has now entered the top 5. See Wayne Grossi right there behind Greg Wachinski as they follow, trying to catch up there to Josh Schaffner. 11 laps in, and so far so good. Of course, we mentioned it before, stage 1 will be ending on lap 40, going to 41. Not the longest run, but that is enough time, Big Al, for you to know what your car is going to do on a little bit of a longer run. Because, 40 laps on the tires here at Dover, you're going to fall off probably almost 2 seconds.
And that fall off has really kind of already started with most of these drivers finding themselves about a half second off of the best pace so far tonight. So as we continue to watch the laps tick down, if you will, 14 of 40 in the books here so far. Well, it'll be 14 the next iteration. 27 car, Derek Jacobs starting to fall back a little bit off of the pace.
You see Kenny Powell now has taken over 2nd place. Don Avery falls back into 3rd. So Avery looks like he is definitely going to be trying to maybe possibly save his tires here, as he now tries to go back to the inside of Kenny Powell. But Ryan Strunk doing what Ryan Strunk does, drive away right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's the best play right here, but, you got to do what you got to do, and Strunk is just doing that, man. He is putting the 77 into the wind. Powell moves all the way up to P2. That's got to be a pretty good feeling for him. But what about Ryan Strunk, our biggest leader thus far, starting this thing back in 11th place?
Wow, that is crazy. Starting back in 11th place, almost in the rear of the field, and has already driven his way up into the lead. Quite a run for sure. We'll have to see how the tires work out for him, though. I'm really concerned, as always. I am. Usually when I watch Strunk. Oh, wow, Kozlowski into the outside wall. Gets incredibly loose after that contact. Looks like he was able to maintain, though, as now he's going to start to get caught here, I do believe, by Andrew Layton there. So now here comes Wayne Grossi trying to get up to the back end of the 5 car. He's going to try to pass on the top here.
Even if he gets by the 5, he's still going to be stacked up behind the 5-0 in the 64 of Darren Mullins. And Josh Schaffner doing everything he can to try to get around that X-side 64. Now he's going to pull back down. Going to stack up the 7 and the 5 there. They're probably not going to appreciate that too much. But Wayne Grossi going to have to figure out how to navigate these turns if he's going to have any shot at busting these guys and better in his position.
Now, you see, it's so difficult to make passes on the bottom or the top of this track. Of course, Wayne Grossi gets a great run on the exits there, but it's so easy to get up into that outside wall. I swear there's a magnet at this place. And one good thing about these cars is they're they're pretty capable of taking a hit on the wall, but you definitely don't want to take too big a one here as Al Kozlowski closes into the back end of that 7-0. He gets loose again, and he loses a ton of momentum.
Yeah, he is definitely going to be feeling those woes as he's probably burned his equipment up as we are halfway through this stage. And basically looking at the way
looks like Don Avery starting to get on the inside here of Kenny Powell. They get ready to go side by side as Avery, I think, took better care of his tires here. But they are starting to run back down Ryan Strunk, our leader. Ryan Strunk last time by hit a 24.122, which was one of the slowest laps on the track here. So I do believe his tire wear is starting to significantly show. Also, Kenny Powell, I think, maybe heated him up quite a bit here as he is really starting to be pressured by Don Avery here. Of course, looking at Josh Schaffner, he's running some really good laps right now. Actually, last time by was the fastest on the racetrack. As always, he is a master of saving that equipment.
Yeah, but one person is not right now, and that's the 27 of Derek Jacobs. So looking at this thing, Brian, he definitely stands a good shot of going a lap down. I don't know if he'll actually be able to hold off through the end of this thing as we still got about 18 laps left to go in this. Next stage, he should be okay. But the following stage, that third stage, I think if he can't find a little bit of speed, is definitely going to work to his detriment. And speaking of detriments, Ryan Strunk has been reeled in by Don Avery. He was also bested at 24 Kenny Powell as well, as he is now trying to get that 11 car back up to the lead there on the front row like he wants.
Yeah, and I think he's going to do it. Last time by, Don Avery was the fastest on the racetrack with a 23.930. He is the only one that is still hitting 23-second laps. Oh, big racing going on between Greg Wachinski back here. Almost some contact there. Wachinski, Al Kozlowski, and John Mullins, or should I say Darren Mullins, but also just saw a pass for the lead. Don Avery has retaken it.
Yeah, Don Avery making his way around both Powell and Ryan Strunk. Now he's back up front. Kenny Powell, though, finding himself dropping all the way back to P5. So he is definitely learning a whole lot here in this first iteration. That track temperature has found itself increased by some 4 degrees since we started this evolution, if you will. Coming up here now with 15 laps to go in this stage, I think drivers are definitely starting to figure out what the cars are and aren't capable of doing, as now the 2 of Mark Padgett tries to come around the 77 of Brian Strunk, this battle for second place.
Yeah, it looks like he was able to successfully navigate his way around and has now taken over that second place position. Padgett looking really good here tonight. But I'm looking at Schaffner, though. Schaffner has been consistently turning some really, really good laps. We'll have to wait and see how that holds on. But it looks like Don Avery has a little bit better of a long run here, so I would expect some adjustments going to be coming throughout the majority of this field.
Yeah, adjustments, that's going to be the name of the game here. All of these drivers are going to have to be doing just that. If they're going to put themselves in a position that they're going to want to be able to be, competitive. Don Avery now slowly starting to reel in the 27 of Derek Jacobs. Derek Jacobs has 12 laps left in this stage. If he can just try to stay out of harm's way, but I don't think it's going to work, Brian, as soon he will actually have the leader and the lead pack in his rearview mirror, and that's just got to be disheartening so early on in the race here.
Yeah, very much so. Derek Jacobs showed some pretty good speed in practice. But, I mean, even though you show good speed in practice, it does not prepare you for the actual race. I'm looking at his right front. I'm seeing a little bit of damage on that thing. I think we might have missed a time where he actually might have hit the wall. Very easy for that to happen here at this place. I mean, I know some drivers even hit it every time around. I know when I first kind of started practicing this place myself to see if I had anything for this week's competition, not in, of course, the ISCA, but just in the regular A Open competition, it's very hard to stay out of it. I mean, it is just ridiculously difficult. It comes up so fast, and a lot of times you don't even know you're going to hit it. Big mover, though, is Greg Wachinski. He now finds himself up into that 6th place position, and he is quickly catching up here to Kenny Powell. Have to see if he can close that distance now, as we have now less than 10 laps to go here in this stage.
And those 10 laps aren't going to be fast enough for Derek Jacobs, as he is slowly starting to find himself. I mean, he is literally going to be driven down here by the leaders, and that's going to be a problem for him sooner than later, Brian.
Yeah, definitely is going to be, and it's such a difficult thing to have happen. Not even just for Derek Jacobs, but for the leaders. Whenever Don Avery comes up on Derek Jacobs, it's so hard to pass. Someone that's a little bit slower here. I mean, it's already hard to pass anyway at this track.
And we talk about that all the time, and the key is if you caught the guy and he was capable of managing this car, that's one thing. But unfortunately, when you're catching a guy like this, and it's nothing against Derek Jacobs, but sometimes the handling woes, man, are just more than the driver can bear. And so that just makes it compounds the difficulties of even trying to pass.
Yeah, 100%. Now 7 laps to go here in this stage here. Right now, the running order, Don Avery, or the top 5, I should say, Don Avery, Mark Pageant, Josh Schaffner, Ryan Strunk, and Kenny Powell are all the top 5 here. But Don Avery has pulled away to a 2.5 seconds here. So he is showing some really, really good speed right now. I mean, he is still steadily the fastest guy on the racetrack. I think that they unloaded a really strong car this week.
Yeah, absolutely. He has got to be completely satisfied with the rocket ship that they did pull off the trailer. And now he's reeling into 27. I hate to keep beating that dead horse, if you will. But Derek Jacobs is just going to have to probably just let Don Avery go by, take his lucky dog, and come on back out. And with a shorter stage for 2, I mean, he should be able to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, definitely going to be having to try to do something different, though, in the final stage here. Because if Don, that is not going to be a stage that will save you, unless a caution comes out based on an accident on the racetrack. So Derek Jacobs really feeling the pressure here. He's going to have to put everything he can into, maybe talk to some of his teammates and see what he can do to fix that race car, get down pit road, get some of that damage repaired also possibly. Here comes Greg Wachinski. He has caught up to Kenny Powell, so we're going to see a fight for 5th place with 3 laps to go.
3 laps to go in this stage before it is in the books.
Wondering if we will be able to see Wachinski actually get around that 24. One thing I noticed about this track, about every track in this next-gen car, the closer you get to the race car in front of you, the worse the handling seems to get here. Because even
are you going to say something about dirty air?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I pretty much said it. I mean, the closer you get, the worse that car handles. Of course, the air, the hole that Kenny Powell is punching through the air right now, it lessens the downforce that race car right behind him is getting.
But I tell you what, Brian, I think a lot of these drivers right now, as this stage is going to be in the books, or once Don Avery makes his way back around again, and I do believe Wayne Grassi is that driver that's in the 10th position. That is the last points paying position. But a lot of these guys got a lot of information that they got to take back to the drawing board and try to figure out how to fix these woes, because if you couldn't handle 40, I don't think 72, well, yeah, you're going to have your hands full.
Yeah, 100%. A very long race here this evening. I mean, 200 laps is definitely one of the highest lap counts I think we have in the ISCA. And,
yeah, absolutely. And the caution is out. That is going to put stage 1 in the books. Don Avery, your stage 1 winner with Mark Pageant in P2. Josh Schaffner comes in 3rd. Ryan Strunk 4th. Kenny Powell in 5th. And Greg Wachinski 6th. Al Keselowski in 7th. Andrew Layton 8th. Darren Mullins in 9th. And Wayne Grassi rounds out those top 10 points paying positions with stage 1 in the books and all the money off the table. We're going to go ahead and take a brief step away, get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with whoever Brian wants to talk to.
All righty, we are back, and it looks like everybody is getting their services completed. It looks like Don Avery going to win the race off pit road. But look at Josh Schaffner. I think he just beat Mark Pageant off of pit road there. Going to be a big move there for him. We'll have to wait and see how that goes, whether starting on the top is going to be a bad thing or a good thing. But I do believe we are joined in the booth by our Stage 1 winner, Don Avery. How you doing, man? It looks like that car is just an absolute rocket ship.
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's running pretty good. I haven't had a lot of practice this week, so I'm pleasantly surprised.
All right, well, that's no practice, and you still seem like you're very quick. This is a track I wouldn't want to come onto without practice, so it's shocking that you're able to do as well as you are right now. I mean, it seemed like, you let some guys get by you, and then all of a sudden you flipped the switch and drove back to the front. Was that kind of the plan to kind of save tire early?
Yeah, I did have some practice over the weekend. I ran 1A Open this week, which is a lot less than I normally run. And, the tires were wearing after 30, 40 laps pretty bad on the loose side. So I was just trying to save some tire there at the beginning and didn't want those guys to push me too much.
Well, it definitely seemed like it worked out well for you. How do you like a track like Dover? Is this one that you always look forward to?
I've never been a real big fan, never hated it either. I don't know. It seems to be working out pretty well for me right now. So right now I'm liking it.
All right. Well, it definitely seems like you got a pretty good long-run car. I know pace car lights should be going out any time now. Could we get a shout-out before we let you get back to it?
My wife, Sherry. Hey, Sherry. Hope you're feeling better. The guys over at Triad, especially Jeffrey Souza and Jeff Barnes, working on the set so much this week. And Stan Analyzer, always on board for overlays and lap comparisons. And you guys up in the booth. Thanks, guys.
All righty. We appreciate you, and good luck with the rest of the race here.
Thank you, sir.
All righty. That was Don Avery, our Stage 1 winner. He's going to be, of course, starting first here as the pace car lights have gone out. Josh Schaffner, of course, able to win the race off pit road versus Mark Pageant here. But look at Ryan Strunk. You can tell that he's ready to go, Big Al.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And he's got to be. I mean, it's go time as we're doubled up now, and there's nothing else to do except for wave that flag, put that pedal down to the metal, they say. But, the ironic thing about it is you really don't get to put the pedal to the metal on these cars, as I do believe the throttle is actually connected to the top, not the bottom, or the bottom, not the top. The bottom, not the top. That's it.
Yeah, definitely. This stage is going to be somewhat shorter than that last stage also, because we completed that whole 40-lap run without any cautions or anything like that. But, of course, this is going to be just a 35-lap run here. So I'm wondering if some of these guys can get something done here.
And that's what I was saying. The good thing about that for Derek Jacobs, he should be able to stay on the lead lap this run.
There goes the pace car dipping down pit road as everybody gets geared up and ready to go to put that pedal down, as you mentioned, as we enter the Geico restart zone, and the green flag will fly once again. Don Avery, great start.
Yeah, Josh Schaffner, though, not so great start, and he has got Ryan Strunk backed up. Strunk now going to try to get down to the inside. It's not happening. As here comes Kenny Powell. He's going to put that G&G 24 Camry back up there on the podium. Looks like he's going to be trying. He's got to get around this G&G teammate of Josh Schaffner, which he makes that happen. Now here comes Greg Wachinski. He's going to be finding himself stacked up in P5. But here comes Ryan Strunk, though, trying to get himself back up here and solidify himself in the top 5 this evening.
Yeah, for sure, and almost saw hints of maybe these guys thinking about going through wide. Dover is not the track to do that at. That is for sure. But could see it here tonight as Strunk is definitely looking strong up on the top. He gets a good run on the exit of 4 here. Still side by side.
Yeah, but it's way too early, Brian, for these guys to be feeling themselves. I get it. You want to jockey for that position a little bit earlier on so you don't have to worry about fighting a little bit later on. But if you save that rubber down, I guarantee you the car will pay you dividends in the end, especially when you get down to those last couple of laps. This stage being ultimately shorter than the first stage, so drivers would be able to actually let it hang out just a little bit more. Now, we didn't see those lap times totally diminish a lot from the first lap to the 40th. But I think as we get ready to go on into the third stage, this stage, quicker, faster, shorter. Third stage, that's when the strategy is going to start to play out.
Big run from Ryan Strunk as we look on through the cockpit camera here, side by side with Kenny Powell. I think Powell just kind of, just to make sure he stayed safe there, got out of the way because Strunk came up on his rear end very, very quickly there.
Yeah, but you got to really understand which direction you're looking when you're racing a race like this, because guys can get such a run. That's the reason why I think it's almost important to keep your eyes focused on the front. That bump, man, she'll just I mean, it humps you. I mean, that's kind of what it does.
You said I was inappropriate earlier. Looks like everybody has pretty much got it all fairly settled out. We see Darren Mullins right there behind Greg Wachinski. Josh Schaffner sitting there right in front of Wachinski also. Here comes Al Kozlowski to the inside of Wayne Grossi.
But nobody wants to get humped by the bump, right?
No, not at all. But very good run so far for Wes Dobbs, also looking pretty quick there. He's right there in the mix as well. A lot of these guys have brought fairly similar, I'd say, race cars when it comes to the speed that they have. But I think the long run is really what you're aiming for. Now, I'm not sure what we're going to expect here. I think Avery seems like he's got the best long run so far. But do you think we saw any adjustments there on pit road?
No, I don't think anybody was making any adjustments through the first two. Maybe you make some slight air pressure adjustments, but at that point in the run, you're going to get more of the same in the second run. So I think it's all about adjusting your driving style instead of just going out there throwing adjustments at the car. It's a lot easier to kind of curtail the driver, if you will. But as we get ready to get this stage in the books, though, we'll be taking a close look at the actual lap times, Brian, because that's where we're going to see the deficit.
Yeah, right now, and Ryan Strunk is starting to catch up here to Don Avery. Love this left rear suspension camera we have here that we can kind of see as Ryan Strunk starts to enclose. You can hear it also, the amount of play that's in that throttle that, Don is lifting, getting back to it, lifting, getting back to it. I mean, it's definitely pedaling it through these corners.
And, and he is going to be very cognizant of the fact that he is in the lead. But what he doesn't want to doesn't want to put himself in a position where he's going to actually have to defend that lead this early on and possibly end up wrecking his car and taking him out of the event. So be looking for Avery not to maybe defend the position as much, but just to conserve so that way he can actually maybe make a move here in the next 15 laps or so.
We have the lap times, last lap on your screens right now. You can see Ryan Strunk about a half a tenth quicker that last time by. Also, Mark Pageant right there in the mix here. By this point, I think in the last stage, Ryan Strunk has already taken the lead. So I think he is making a considerable effort maybe to hold back a little bit, maybe not drive it quite as hard to get up there.
He did that in the last iteration, so I think he kind of got an idea of what the delta is. So, yeah, I think Strunk is this guy's a professional. He understands the adjustments that he needs to make. So I think maybe you would see him possibly falling in behind the 11 versus trying to challenge, because I don't think Avery is going to actually sit out there and battle him like that this early on. So hopefully these guys did learn something, though, Brian, and they will be a little bit more conservative, especially this early on into stage 2.
Yeah, 100%. We see Wayne Grossi starting to peek the nose in underneath Al Kozlowski here. Grossi looking very fast in that Pennzoil 7.
But he's right where he started, and he was the 10th place driver at the end of stage 1. So Grossi, one thing that he's doing that to his own credit is he's getting more consistent, and that's allowing drivers to feel more comfortable racing beside him. As we've been sitting here watching Wayne Grossi as he went from the yellow Pennzoil, then he went to a different color car, now he's back to the yellow. But the one thing that we can say about him is he's improving on his racecraft as he is now coming right up onto the back of the 88. Now, remember, these two, they've got a pretty storied past, right? It's definitely colorful, to say the least.
Yeah, that's for sure. I don't know if I'd want to see a yellow car in my rearview mirror. It almost reminds me, because humans in a lot of ways react to colors. Like, a light blue or something kind of sends you with a little bit of calmness. If you see a bright yellow car behind you, it means caution.
Yeah, cautions breed cautions, that's for sure.
You see Al Kozlowski got a big run up to that 64 of Darren Mullins, but just not able to take advantage of it. That puts Wayne Grossi right back up to that back bumper. Don Avery still your leader.
Yeah, Avery actually getting a little bit more wiggle room there in his boots. I think he was at risk of blisters there because he was so crowded by the guys behind him. But now he can feel his toes again, Brian. The circulation's starting to move around some.
And it looks like Mark Pageant has taken that second place position away from Ryan Strunk. We'll have to wait and see if Pageant can actually catch up here to Avery. Avery last time by was a few tenths faster. So, Avery has just had the all-around great car here, short run, long run. It doesn't seem to matter. He has got a quick ride. So, definitely, I think those guys there at Triad deserve a big shout-out after the piece they brought him tonight.
Yeah, but, it's the first two stages. Both of these stages are going to be relatively short. Once we get into that fuel burn window where this car has 72 laps there, where you're going to have to try to squeeze that out of those Goodyears as well as that Sunoco, I think that's when you're going to actually start to see this race kind of turn. Right now, it's kind of pretty much the status quo. You know what you got during stage one, pretty much going to stack it up the same way here going through stage two. But the third stage, I think that's when drivers are going to have to make some serious decisions, Brian.
Yeah, for sure, depending on when you pit. With tires being so, dramatically falling off, we're already seeing a second of fall off here. Still have a little bit to go in this stage.
And you're not going to have such an easy time reeling these guys back in, so you're definitely going to have to keep it a lot closer if you're going to want to be able to make a move, because at this point, it doesn't look like you're going to be able to count on those late race cautions. And I was thinking that Derek Jacobs would not have had as many issues here coming into stage two, but looks like he's got his hands as full, if not fuller than he did on the previous with 12 laps to go in this stage. Looks like he is definitely going to find himself going a lap down once again, Brian.
Yeah, I feel like Don Avery might have stepped it up a little bit further here with the amount of pace he's showing out here as he is caught. He's going to be catching up to Derek Jacobs here shortly. But now he is back to what we saw him run, I'd say, towards the end of that last stage. He was about 1.5 seconds out in front. He's about there now. He's got about 1.3 seconds of a lead here on Mark Pageant.
Yeah, that's great. That'll get you a stage win, but the key is going to be trying to get the race win. So keep doing what you're doing, Don, man. We definitely admire watching you. Don Avery has made tremendous leaps as well here as we've watched him progress and actually improve his racecraft.
Yeah, he has improved by leaps and bounds. I don't know what he's been eating or what kind of practices he's been doing, but it has definitely been helping out quite a bit. From the Don Avery we saw, I do believe, just a few months ago to the Don Avery we're seeing now, it's a completely different driver, it seems to be.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He is, like I said, all of these guys, we get the pleasure of watching them grow from an analytical sense, because that's what we're doing, Brian. We're sitting here and we're troubleshooting everything they do, every move, every turn, every lift. But, we see guys that are actually making tremendous improvements because, hey, look, I'm not a consummate professional. I'm just a dude that likes to run my mouth. But now here comes the 11, and he is going to be rolling up onto the 27 of Derek Jacobs. I was hoping Jacobs would have been able to kind of stay on the lead lap. Don't think that's going to happen here, but he's just going to have to manage his own race, Brian.
Yeah. Definitely, for sure. You can still see that he's got some right front damage as Don Avery has gotten by him and puts him a lap down once again. And Don Avery with a great lead right now, 1.8 seconds. By the end of this thing, I think he's going to have a 2-second lead on Mark Pageant. And not a lot of people can say that they put that kind of lead on Mark Pageant. We're used to Pageant coming out here and dominating races.
But like I said, I do believe with 5 laps to go in this stage, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, because the 3 people that are listening to us talk, they probably get sick of me being right and you being wrong.
Oh my word!
Oh wow, did I say that? Hot mic. No, but
oh, look at that Strunk getting really loose, Big Al.
Oh, he's gonna get looser. I mean, he is, because he has been running it hard. They let it all hang out here in the second stage, but I think Paget's gonna be around.
We might have a caution here.
Nope, he's got to just keep pedaling that thing, keeping it forward. This is a tight track, so hopefully he'll be able to stay out of the way and keep this thing green for us.
Yeah, I think there might even have been a little bit of contact there between the 77 and the 50. You can tell the handling has just gone away from this 77. He falls all the way back to 8th place and could even leave us more than that as we have 5 laps to go here in the stage.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up, and I want to belabor this point, is simply because this is what's going to happen when we move into the next stage, Brian. Guys they're gonna be just like this. They get racy earlier on, and then next thing you know, man, your tires are gone and you're just holding on through a wing and a prayer. But he's doing exactly what he needs to do. He was actually able to pedal through it. Andrew Layton in the 84. Good to see him up into the top 10. And Darren Mullins is going to be rounding out our top 10, those top 10 point span positions. Looks like Derek Jacobs is going to be a lap down here. He'll get that back, so as long as we don't have a caution. He is currently the only driver that we do score as a lap down in the contest.
Yep, now going to be 2 laps to go here in this stage as Don Avery just crossed the start-finish line. Now has 2.8 seconds on Mark Pageant. Of course, Josh Schaffner did get by Kenny Powell to take over that 3rd place position, but he is quite a ways back from Mark Pageant here, about 2.5 seconds, of course, as we get ready to complete stage number 2. And it looks like Don Avery, I mean, if I was a betting man, I'd say he's getting ready to sweep both stages.
I can feel the bristles across the back of my neck, Brian. That means we've been swept.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you ain't even got to see the broom, you just know, man. And here we are right now being swept by Don Avery. But you know what? If you're going to get beat, best to get beat by a champ. Darren Mullins is going to be the last driver that we're going to be watching right now. 81 on the counter. This will be the last lap here of this stage. Once the 64 of Darren Mullins comes back around one more time, that caution will come out. And there it is right there, Brian. Why don't you talk us through the lineup?
All righty. Well, Don Avery, of course, sweeping both stages here, winning stage 1 and 2. Mark Pageant finishing in 2nd place. Josh Schaffner 3rd. Kenny Powell in 4th place. Greg Wachinski 5th. Al Kozlowski in 6th. 7th place, Wayne Grossi. 8th place, Andrew Layton. 9th place, Ryan Strunk after that monstrous spin he had, but luckily he was able to keep it going in the right direction, didn't get any damage there. And rounding out our top 10, Darren Mullins. So with that, we'll take another brief step away here, and we'll come right back, and we'll talk to whoever Big Al wants to talk to.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I feel comfortable, bro. We get a hug. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and it looks like Don Avery did win the race off of pit road as we're going to get stage number 3 started up here. I do believe Big Al is standing by with Greg Wachinski, the driver of the 5 car.
Greg Wachinski, Big Al up in the booth. How you doing? You got me?
I got you, Big Al. How's it going, man?
Hey, man, let's talk about triple nickels. You started this thing in the 5th place. You're currently in 5th place, and you're driving the 5 car. I was dialing up my luck here, and I was like, man, let me talk to this guy. So talk us through what's going to be different for you guys between the first and second stage versus this stage.
I think I've kind of figured out, how to save tires a little bit. I did much better on that second stage, so hopefully here in the 3rd stage I can keep my tires fresh and stay competitive.
You really feeling like you guys got a chance here when you pulled off that car off of the trailer there? Were you thinking to yourself that, hey guys, this could be a winning weekend, or you thinking you're just trying to get on the podium?
I mean, I always think I can win. Obviously, I wouldn't race if I didn't. But Don's pretty quick out there. I don't know if anybody can keep up with him, to be honest with you. We'll see. It should be interesting.
So as far as the G&G guys, though, your setup, you guys put a lot of time into that setup, obviously, this week. Is this thing more friendly towards the longer runs or the shorter runs for you?
I mean, it's a good long run car. I mean, we have worked on this a lot. This is actually my favorite track, so I've raced a lot this week. But I mean, it's a long run car. You just gotta keep your tires cool and just not hit the wall. It's very tight, so.
Well, I tell you what, man, we're excited for you here. Hopefully you'll be able to bring that thing home at least on the podium. But if not, man, who you going to shout out for before we let you get back to work?
Obviously, the ISCA, Kenny, everything he does, you guys do the broadcast, G&G Racing.
Well, all right, Mr. Wachinski, it's a pleasure to watch you. Good luck to you, sir. We'll be rooting you on, and hopefully you'll be able to bring that thing here on the podium.
Hopefully. Take care.
All righty, that was the driver of the 5 car, Greg Wachinski, going to be restarting this last stage here in 5th place. Of course, Don Avery going to be starting up front where he started at in the beginning of this race. So he is definitely dominated so far. Pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to watch that pace car take that left turn down pit road. Green race so far. I mean, it's been fairly good to watch here. We'll have to see what these guys have in store for us now, because in that final stage, Big Al, that's when stuff starts to go crazy.
Yeah, that's this stage, right? So
that's right.
We're ready to start going crazy, and we are definitely dialed in and ready to go. Pace cars off and away, as well as Don Avery.
And there is, of course, the green flag out as Don Avery gets clear of Mark Pageant, able to secure his lead.
It's going to be interesting to see if these guys jockey for position, if they're just kind of laid back, because this is going to be the longest run these guys have ran so far, and we're going to be watching once those clickers hit up to about 45, 50 laps on those tires to see not only what the lap times are, but how well these cars are handling.
You see some side-by-side battling going on here as Darren Mullins tries to fight with Wayne Grossi. Looks like he gets clear, and there goes Ryan Strunk, able to pass also. So Darren Mullins definitely looking like he's got a pretty good car here so far tonight. We'll have to wait and see how this kind of all shakes up. But Strunk trying to march his way back through the field after that kind of a bad spin he had earlier. You see Greg Wachinski has already moved his way up into that 4th place position after starting 5th on that last one. Darren Mullins once again going side by side now with Ryan Strunk, as Strunk is driving hard up on the top side. Kenny Powell's probably not liking what he sees in his rearview mirror right now.
Well, Strunk's going to have to be cognizant of the fact that he can run that high side, but he risks running into the wall. Now, this is the stage that you said. You called out Josh Schaffner, and you were like, he's Mr. Conservative, and we do know that. So I'm watching to see if Schaffner defends the position or if he just kind of lets the riffraff go. And I'm not saying riffraff by anybody being riffraff. I mean the racy guys. That's what I'm talking about when I say riffraff.
Look at that. Ryan Strunk muscling his way by the 5 of Greg Wachinski. That moves Greg Wachinski back a couple more positions here. Kenny Powell takes advantage of it. Darren Mullins also taking advantage here. So Greg Wachinski probably not liking the way that Ryan Strunk just got by him, but I don't believe they touched. Oh, here comes Strunk onto the rear end of the 50, but Josh is fighting for position now.
Well, yeah, and Strunk is he's trying to fight for his position as well, just trying to hope that he doesn't run up into Schaffner too fast. You know, you just got to control the run.
Hey, he almost got into his rear end just now. Looks like Schaffner still not going to give that spot up. I think we're seeing a different Schaffner. Usually we see that conservative Schaffner. I think now that once the stage 3 started, he was like, no, I'm going. I am not giving this position up, as we see also Wayne Grossi and Wachinski battling back and forth here. Of course, Wachinski trying to recover, as now look at that. Strunk does get by Schaffner, and Kenny Powell going to take advantage. Also, John Mullins, or Darren Mullins here. This is getting kind of scary, Big Al. Got to keep in mind, we still have over 100 laps to go, as Josh Schaffner is going to fall back a lot of positions here. He is going to fall all the way back to 10th place. And here comes Ryan Strunk once again, going to be trying to get up to Mark Pageant. Just crazy to how fast Strunk is on the short run, but it just does not seem to equate to his long run pace. I mean, we saw at that 30-plus lap mark, that's when he started really getting out of sorts. So I'm wondering if the same thing's going to happen, or did he make some adjustments to kind of compensate for that issue?
And everybody right now, they're watching two things. They're watching the car in front of them, and they're watching the lap, the track temperatures. That's what I'm thinking, because now it's up to 91 degrees. And so, like I said earlier, this isn't that stage where you're going to just get comfortable and let the leader run out there. You got to keep him close, Brian, because if you don't, you have no chance of reeling him back in. And I like what Greg Wachinski said. You know, you think I'd be racing here if I didn't think I had a chance to win it.
That's right. As we got the lap times on the screen here. Ryan Strunk and Mark Pageant turning the exact same lap time last time by. Greg Wachinski, you mentioned him. He was very quick last time by, 23.683. Al Kozlowski, though, was the fastest man on the track, sitting back there in 8th.
With a 23.483 run there with that Speedway Angels 88 machine. He can actually see himself smiling as Darren Mullins is doing everything he can to stay right behind the 24 Kenny Powell, who is running up onto Mark Pageant, who just actually found himself passed by Ryan Strunk.
Yeah, definitely. I think Kenny Powell's been using Ryan Strunk, kind of taking advantage of the holes that Ryan Strunk is creating. Because, I mean, he literally took advantage of it whenever he went by when he went by Josh Schaffner. But what a good run for Darren Mullins right now. Up into the 5th place position. And now we're crossing that halfway point in the race here in the next lap or so.
We are halfway through this event right here, Brian. And I'm going to tell you, Don Avery has definitely got to be feeling pretty good, not only about his chances, but about his performances. He has pretty much dominated the entire event thus far. I don't know, you got that narrative right there where it says that he has led 86 of 100 laps thus far. Ladies and gentlemen, if that's not domination, well, I don't know what is. But now the question is going to be if Don Avery can close or not.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing. I mean, we've seen about every driver, I'd say, in this field make mistakes. As Don Avery goes to the top of the track, he's going to let the 77, I think, go here. But I don't know. It looks like he gets a better run up on the top than he did on the bottom there. Of course, the top of this track does burn the equipment up a little bit more, I'd say, than running up there on the, bottom of the racetrack.
And it also increases your chance of running into that wall because the wall really ain't going to move. I do like how straight it is, though, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it doesn't move, though. It very much does not move. You hit it, it ain't going nowhere. That's for sure. But Don Avery did a great job of defending against Strunk here. He went to the top to kind of let Strunk try to think he was going to pass him, but then got a heck of a run off of the off of the exit there of the corner, and he has definitely secured a little bit of breathing room on Ryan Strunk. Ryan Strunk starting to fall back to Mark Pageant here. Side by side, Darren Mullins getting passed by Wayne Grossi here.
It's still early on here as we're 97 laps to go in this contest. These guys right now still just 21 laps on their equipment, so that is not a very long run for them.
No, not at all. And, of course, we mentioned it before how long the fuel window is, 72 laps. These guys are only 22 laps into this run. So I would assume green flag pit stops are going to probably occur at around the 140 mark, somewhere in there. What do you think, Big Al?
We are on lap.
Oh, contact with the wall from Grossi right in front of Wachinski. Luckily, that didn't turn out poorly.
You said, what lap did you say green flag pit stops for the Chrome?
I would say 140, 145.
Yeah, 40 on 20, 60. So, yeah, I think at that point, everybody will be, I mean, definitely that'll, if they can make it that far, Brian. I mean, once he gets out there, guys are going to have to do what they can. But in 20 laps, some guys are going to be, they're going to be rolling the dice and saying, you know, I gotta go. I gotta get tires. I can't do this. So that's gonna flip that window out there.
Yeah, I mean, and with the amount of fall off we're seeing, I mean, already a second of fall off just 20-something laps into this run here. I mean, that even begs the question: could there even be, instead of just stopping once, maybe you stop again? You know, is it worth it?
Some guys are going to because they're just not having fun.
Don Avery still your leader, but now he is starting to get caught by Mark Pageant. Pageant is not letting Avery get away here. Of course, those two, I do believe, belong on the same team, so probably running a similar setup. But I know those Triad guys, they all kind of run the same setup, but a little different. They kind of have it more personalized for each other.
Well, yeah, but, you know, here's the thing, and I want to say this, and it's not going to be a popular statement. People aren't going to like it. The league might, you know, there'd be some ramifications for me even saying this, but man, I'm glad to see. I am elated that there now is another team that has emerged here in the ISCA that is not only competitive, but they're championship caliber team. And I'm talking about Triad Racing Enterprises. I'm talking about Don Avery, Jeffrey Souza, and Mark Pageant. And if you think that these guys aren't here to make a statement, then I don't know whose broadcast you've been watching, because I'm telling you, these guys are here, Brian.
Well, I think they've already made a statement. I mean, Mark Pageant coming into this race pretty much already had sewn up a championship. I mean, as we see some big battling there, Wayne Grossi starting to have some major handling issues. And guess who's entered the picture once again? Josh Schopner worked his way up to 8th. Going to be trying to get even more positions back here. As look at Al Kozlowski, though. He has now worked his way up into that 5th place position. That Speedway Angels machine has been looking really good here tonight. And I know, talking to him before this race, Big Al, he was not very confident in the way his car was driving. Seems like he was having problems with saving the tire.
Well, we'll definitely see here in about 20 laps or so just how well his tire-saving campaign is going, because that is going to be the one that tells the tale. And right now, the 27 of Derek Jacobs is not by he lonesome, because he has Wes Dobbs and Mark Sanchez that are still in his sights, but the leader is slowly reeling him in. He has got Don Avery and Mark Pageant, and they are on him like the stink of the dog, and these guys are hunting.
See Kenny Powell starting to catch up here to the 77 of Ryan Strunk. Of course, Kenny Powell right now in the points is sitting 2nd place. Not a lot of chances of him losing that 2nd position, but he's definitely doing everything he can to make sure he guarantees at least a runner-up spot here in the Cup Series Championship. And as we mentioned before, next week, we'll be starting another season for this, ISCA Thursday group, and Charlotte Motor Speedway. I mean, that is such a classic racetrack. Can't wait to go there.
No days off.
Come on, we had Thanksgiving off.
Man, I mean, think about it though. I mean, because it fell on Thursday. If it would have been on a Friday, the ISCA would have been racing.
Oh yeah, you're right about that. That's for sure.
Look, I didn't even log in on Thanksgiving night because I thought Kenny was going to make me call his G&G party or something. I don't know. That dude, he's a tyrant.
Oh gosh, you know he watches every one of these broadcasts. You ain't gonna hear the end of it now, Big Al.
What? I'm talking about that one guy, the Kenny, what's his name? Kenny Clayton.
That's it. Yeah,
Clayton Powell.
He's a racer
Clayton
in here.
Powell.
Yeah.
Clayton Powell.
But now we are 117, 118 laps into this event, and green flag pit stops are definitely going to be probably, I'd say, happening in the next 20 or so laps.
They're going to have to, and right now at 83 laps to go, Don Avery's doing everything that he needs to do, and he's dragging along his triad teammate. That's the O2 of Mark Paget. And like you said, Paget has this is his championship to win, so good to go on him. But I mean, it just speaks volumes about how far these guys are running ahead of the rest of the pack.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, they are doing a fantastic job, and what a race. Even though Don Avery not necessarily going for a championship here, to end a season on a high note like that just sets you up for the next season. I have no qualms about saying Don Avery is going to be a championship contender in this next season.
The 29 of Mark Sanchez finds himself down pit road now, and I think that's what we were talking about, where some drivers are just going to have to go ahead and make it work with 2 pit stops to the end. Hopefully Sanchez will remain in the competition. We'll be watching him on pit road.
It looks like, he is going to be getting going. So he is on a little bit of a different strategy here. I'm wondering how that's going to play out. We see Sanchez has gone 2 laps down with that pit stop. So that makes that a lot less tempting for sure to do that 2-stop.
And I tell you what, the 2-stop, 2-step, a lot of drivers are watching that right now, and they're saying, hey, look, it cost him 2 laps. So the 2-stop, 2-step cost him 2 laps. Nobody else is going to be dancing to that song tonight. Sanchez might have just answered a lot of people's questions and solidified his own fate. Sorry.
We just did see Kenny Powell actually get right around, I do believe, Ryan Strunk. And Powell, last time by, was faster than the top 2. We'll have to wait and see if he is able to manage to catch up here. Of course, it's quite a long way he has to go. Of course, the top 2 are about 4 seconds out in front of him. That is a substantial lead that those 2 have managed to, build here.
And plus, those 2 guys were coming up onto Derek Jacobs, so that was going to, that was something they had to navigate, and Powell's going to have to navigate that as well. You don't start trying to pass a lap car when you get up on this bumper. You got to come up with, you got to look at what line he's running, try to figure out if he's in control of the car. So that's the reason why I think you saw Powell having an actual faster lap. But as he gets closer to Derek Jacobs, I think he's going to experience a similar fate.
Looking at Josh Schaffner, though, he just turned the fastest lap on the racetrack. What a recovery. We saw him having to deal with Ryan Strunk, got, kind of sent up the track a little bit. I don't know if there was really any contact with there, but he went up the track, lost a myriad of positions, fell all the way back to 10th place. He has worked his way back up to 5th. What an impressive drive for this 50 machine.
Yeah, and speaking of Ryan Strunk, he just made incidental contact with that outside wall, and that definitely didn't do too good on that right front fender of the 77 car. But you know what? I don't think it's the first time that he's hit it, and it probably won't be the last, but that is going to allow Schaffner the opportunity, as well as the it's going to allow Schaffner the opportunity to come back and contest for that position.
Yeah, and I'm sure Kenny Powell is looking at his relative right now and saying, please don't let that 50 catch me. Please let the 77 hold him up a little bit here.
Yeah, now you look back at Kenny Powell's lap times versus, the 11 and the 2. Don Avery, Mark Paget definitely got this thing figured out, man, and they're running, some tenth of a second faster than Kenny Powell.
Yeah, it looks like Derek Jacobs has elected to go down pit road here.
And that's not surprising, Brian, because right now they're the longest laps they've been. You know, he's at 44 laps on this equipment right now, and if you're not fast at 45, you might as well go ahead and do 2.
100%. Josh Schaffner in closing on Kenny Powell now, going to be trying to work his way onto the podium here. About to see how Kenny Powell races him. Side by side, though, Mark Paget with the new tires almost gets into Greg Wachinski. But that was quite the scare there. But that is a advertisement right there for Mark Sanchez, I should say,
Mark
not Mark
Sanchez.
Paget.
There you go. Look, man, I was sitting there. I was calling my 3rd grade English teacher like, Miss Ransom, I don't know the difference between Paget and Sanchez. Talk to me. Strunk again.
Oh, Al Kozlowski into the wall, too.
Yeah, I mean, Strunk just having a hard time controlling that beast tonight, man. I'm telling you, once you get on her and you start spurring her, sometimes she just sends you the wrong way. The 6'4" car, Darren Mullen's not going to find himself coming down pit road. So I think it's safe to assume that green flag pit stops are officially underway, Brian.
Yeah, definitely are. Of course, they are in the fuel window. But this just means that they're going to have to go, Darren Mullins is going to have to go 70 laps.
Yeah, everybody, no, he's not going to go 70 laps. Everybody that's pitting now will pit again. I'll just say that. The key is going to be for like the 11 of Avery and Mark Paget. We're going to be watching these guys, seeing how well they maintain and manage. Right now, they're 2 seconds off their best time with 50 laps on their equipment. So I'm thinking they at least got to make it another 19 laps. Yeah, that's right. Another 19 laps before it'd be safe to actually come in and pit.
Well, look at this. Challenge for the lead. Mark Paget has taken the lead from Don Avery. New leader.
I think they're sharing.
I don't know. I think, because remember, I kind of mentioned it while we were on our break about how on the stage number 2, Paget was starting to catch Avery. And I think that Paget maybe does a little bit better of saving the equipment. We never did get to see what Avery looked like in that 40-plus lap range.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take this opportunity to tell you that Brian Britt is always right and Big Al is wrong. He did point that out so eloquently, and so I mean,
it wasn't on air, though. It was not on air. I pointed that out.
No, I'll vouch for you, man. Go, Mark Paget, go.
You see Mark Sanchez, the other Mark there, actually going to be getting one of his laps back here. Also, when Darren Mullins pitted, he actually went down 2 laps. So I think that seems to be a pretty good rule of thumb that when you pit, you're going to go 2 laps down.
Oh, yeah, the 2-stop, 2-step, 2-lap down.
Definitely a great race so far, though. I'll tell you what, Schaffner has been really enclosing on these guys, though. I mean, last time by, both Mark Paget and Don Avery hit 50 or 25-second laps. Josh Schaffner, 24.7. He was faster than both of the drivers in front of him. He is now about 4.5 seconds back from these guys. Now, this is a long way to go to try to catch up from this.
Now, Mark Paget is actually doing a lot better than Don Avery, as Paget was running a 24.831 on that last one, and he and Schaffner were the only 2 besides Mark Sanchez, who's on a different pit sequence, that were actually sub 25-second laps. So you were absolutely spot on about that, where it looks like Schaffner definitely is Mr. Conservative here once again, and he is going to be able to slowly trim that time down. Now, we're just going to be waiting patiently to see when these guys are actually going to come on down pit road, because there's still 63 laps to go in this thing.
Yeah, these guys have got about 55 laps on their equipment right now. As you see, Darren Mullins on the newer tires are going to be getting around Josh Schaffner here. So I would assume, like I said, I think about 145, somewhere in there. I think that's when we're going to see these guys coming down pit road. We'll have to wait and see. Could some guys try to go a little bit longer? If your car's doing better on the shorter run, we'll have to wait and see how that kind of plays out. We are closing in. Laps are ticking down quick. And what a race this would be if Mark Pageant wins it. I mean, to win the championship and a race, that is a big thing about it. I mean, to end it on, you know, with that, I'd say exclamation point. You know what I mean?
It's all about the exclamation point. It's like the cherry on top. The 29, Mark Sanchez down pit road again.
Interesting to see that for sure. Maybe a car just not handling like he wants it to, unfortunately.
Hopefully it's not jumping out of it.
Taking a look at lap times once again here. Mark Pageant and Josh Schaffner turning almost the exact laps here. As we see Schaffner is starting to catch up here to Avery. Avery has fallen off substantially. 25.657 last time by. Josh Schaffner well over a half a second faster. That is definitely substantially quicker here. So Don Avery has, I don't know if I think he burned his stuff up. I mean, he mentioned it in his interview, Big Al, that he hasn't had a ton of time with the car. He's done 1A Open and practiced a little bit over the weekend. But I know for a fact Josh Schaffner has ran a bunch of races this week. But will it be enough to catch up to that 0-2 of Mark Pageant? Pageant is looking phenomenal here. Definitely been doing some really good laps. Al Kozlowski's still turning some good laps, too. I mean, he's in 7th right now. I did not expect much from that 88 camp. 24.9 last time by. He actually was almost as quick as the leader.
Yeah, the 11 is on pit road right now. And he is followed by the 5 of Wachinski.
Yep, green flag pit stops well and truly underway now. With 55 laps to go here. And we haven't seen too many issues on pit road, Big Al, which is shocking. I mean, Dover is just so challenging when it comes to pit road.
Yeah, well, yeah, but we're in the ISCA now. If we were to be at Dover in a couple other leagues, it'd be a different scenario, different situation. So now, green flag pit stops officially underway with 55 laps to go in this thing. Don Avery's on pit road. Greg Wachinski's on pit road. Here comes Mark Pageant as well as Kenny Powell.
Oh, we talked about people having problems on pit road. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Big Al, but Josh Schaffner loses it on the entry and hits the pit road wall.
And that's going to suck for him. That's going to suck for Schaffner because he was on the other inside of the wall, so no chance for a caution to come out. Like I said, it's hard to wrangle these beasts.
And we see that he's trying to slow down here in the middle of 3 and 4 and just loses it there. Definitely, I wouldn't be surprised if he even got a speeding penalty there. He was he waited way too late to bring it down. I think that was a last-second decision there, and last-second decisions when you're in racing never works.
And you were absolutely 100% correctamundo. Josh Schaffner did receive a black flag for speeding on pit road.
So this is all going to be very good for Mark Pageant, because Pageant probably was looking at his relative and seeing that Schaffner was starting to run him down, but now all of that work that Schaffner has put in is gone. Going to have to be praying for some type of caution to get him back into the fight. Mark Pageant, though, definitely looking very strong right now as we're verging here on 50 laps to go. The next closest car to him, I do believe, is Greg Wachinski when it comes to actually positions. Of course, Wes Dobbs has yet to pit.
Yeah, Wes Dobbs and Wayne Grossi, the only two drivers out there thus far that have not pitted. The 84 of Andrew Layton looks like he is actually going to be coming back out onto the racetrack. Here comes the 72. He finds himself down pit road.
Woo!
That is Dobbs.
Yeah, he almost lost it there on the entry. I'm curious if he himself got a speeding penalty there, because definitely had to lock those tires up and almost lost it.
He did not.
Definitely going to be good for him. Hopefully didn't lose too much time there for sure.
Wayne Grossi also coming down pit road. That is going to complete the pit cycles.
That it will, and I do believe right now Darren Mullins is the leader, considering Darren actually is on a little bit of a different strategy here. Give him some laps to lead. Nothing wrong with that.
We are not angry.
And there goes, I think Wes Dom's bringing it down again here. No, he's actually coming out of pit road right now. I do apologize. Well, one thing about it, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a racer yourself, as we mentioned before, this is the last race of the Cup season. The next season will be starting up literally next week. So if you want to get involved in the ISCA, definitely message us on Facebook here, or maybe on the YouTube. Reach out to Kenny Powell on iRacing. He'll definitely get with you. And definitely an awesome lead to race in. I mean, such clean drivers, a ton of respect. Definitely
yeah, come on over here. Come on over here and give us something to talk about, because we definitely like talking about stuff. Wes Dobbs in the 72 down pit road, and once again, this is going to be his second set with 47 laps to go. I do believe he thinks it's probably a little bit more manageable.
Well, that's crazy. He just went down pit road. Did he get a black flag?
Of course.
Well, that definitely will. I wonder if it was an unsafe pit exit, possibly. Darren Mullins still out there in the lead right now.
But that's definitely gonna be a stop and hold for Wes. So that's gonna pretty much obliterate any chances that he had of actually pulling that thing off in the podium tonight.
Yeah, Darren Mullins, of course, as I just mentioned, is the leader. Mark's Pageant is coming up on him very quickly. Last time by, he was over a second faster. And so it won't be long before Mark Pageant reclaims his throne here. Greg Wychinski, I do believe, when everything is all said and done, will be in second place. He's got Don Avery not too far behind him, but Don Avery is under a lot of fire from Ryan Strunk.
Yeah, Ryan Strunk definitely has his head where he wants it at right now, and he has given Don Avery everything that he has. But now it's going to be interesting to see if if Strunk can actually maintain his tires and equipment. Sometimes he burns them off a little bit too fast, and with 43 laps to go, I think that might be another one of those situations.
Yeah, definitely could be, for sure. We'll have to wait and see if that 77 falls off like he has before. Of course, he is on a little bit newer tires than most of the drivers out there. He is 12 laps on his tires.
Derek Jacobs down pit road.
Looks like he might have a penalty himself there after he changed his tires, has not gotten back going here. Seems like a easy place to get a penalty. Very much so. We've seen a lot of those tonight, it seems like.
Yeah, he is free and clear, and he is on the bubble. He's getting ready to keep moving again. Just been a long race here tonight, Brian. I mean, a lot of no caution, so it's definitely caused a lot of drivers, to actually have to play their hands. That's basically what's happening.
Yeah, and when there's no cautions like that, I mean, it makes it so difficult for when you do make crucial mistakes. I mean, a lot of times in those first two stages, I mean, I've said it so many times that you can make mistakes in those first two stages as long as it don't hurt the car. But if you make a mistake in this final stage, most of the time in the ISCA, nothing is going to save you.
Nothing. So, yeah, you're absolutely correct. It is just a battle that these drivers are going to have to continue to fight with.
Greg Wachinski, of course, trying to get around Darren Mullins here, trying to take that second place position. Of course, we talked to Greg Wachinski under the stage 2 caution, and it looks like he has definitely got himself figured all out right now. Of course, he is on a little bit older tires, I do believe, than some of these drivers out here. He pitted a lap, I do believe, before Mark Pageant, our leader, did. So we'll have to see how that affects his run here as Ryan Strunk still trying to close in. Al Kozlowski and Kenny Powell starting to duke it out a little bit back here for this 6th place position. Here comes Kozlowski, going to try to get to the inside, not able to get there. That's one thing I've noticed from this 24 all week long. He runs this track very interesting. He enters a little bit higher than most people, but then brings it down in the center of the corner.
Yeah, well, you know, drivers are going to have to try to navigate this track the best way they can. You know, with 36 laps to go, tires are starting to wane. Track temperature has been consistent and steady. But right now, you know, drivers are just holding on. And it's a heavyweight bout. I mean, 200 laps on this thing, that's a long way to go. And I do believe that they're starting to get a little bit weary there. Long in the tooth, as Travis Tritt would say.
Here comes Mark Sanchez. I do believe he's going to be coming back down pit road here.
Yeah, definitely. Probably going to be looking to try to get himself a little bit of a faster position. But it's 2 laps. That's the only thing I can say about that. If you're coming back down and going to do this thing in 2 stops, you're going to be 2 laps down.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, just unfortunate. Long pit road, takes a long time to get from one end to the other. Of course, Wayne Grassi just got himself back on the lead lap, got right around Mark Pageant here. So that's going to be good for him, but has quite a ways to go to catch up to anybody that is 4th position, but he still does rest right now in that 9th place spot. Don Avery getting around Ryan Strunk, takes over 3rd. So Strunk is starting to have those handling woes that definitely seems to be plaguing him here tonight. I have to wonder if Avery is going to be able to catch up to Greg Wachinski, though. They're running very, very similar lap times. It's now going to be 30 laps to go. And Mark Pageant right now has almost 6 seconds of a lead. Definitely a great effort from Don Avery. Swept both of the first 2 stages. If you asked me who was going to win this race at the end of stage 2, I would have said Don Avery, Big Al. But it looks like Mark Pageant acting as a sleeper a little bit here tonight, wouldn't you say? Now, I think he had the right strategy. I mean, Mark, he's like, I don't need to win these stages. I want to win the race. Because, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, not to take anything away from anybody that wins stages here in the ISCA or in NASCAR in general, no one ever remembers who won stages. They remember who won the race, right? Here comes Avery, though. He is caught up to Wachinski, so the battle is going to be on for second. Ooh, I do believe Derek Jacobs just got into the wall. Josh Schaffner trying to get around him. Of course, Schaffner is, I do believe, 2 laps down right now. So not a lot of positions to be gained here for that race car driver. As I mentioned it before, though, Don Avery, the closer he gets to Greg Wychinski, I think the less that car is going to handle. I do believe we just had a little bit of a technical issue. I think Big Al's having some problems here. We'll continue to bring the race in action for you, ladies and gentlemen. 25 laps to go here. Greg Wychinski doing everything he can to try to keep that 11 back there. Wants to try to get second place. I'll tell you what, though, Mark Pageant is in a position of power right now. I mean, he has over almost 8 seconds of a lead right now as Avery all over the rear end of the 5 here. This is going to be a big battle. Avery to the inside. Wychinski closes the door. Josh Schaffner, of course, 2 laps down, going to come up here and probably complicate it a bit here. Greg Wychinski a little loose off the corner, coming over that hump we kept talking about. As Avery still battling it. Look at that, Wychinski all the way up the racetrack. Here comes Avery to the inside. Avery gets loose. The battle's still on as Josh Schaffner complicates it. Don Avery right now in second place. Can he hold on to it? Will he just let Schaffner go? Of course, Schaffner is not for position. Here comes Schaffner to the inside. Not able to get there. Don Avery with some blinks. Definitely not something you want to see here at Dover. You got to love it, though. Mark Pageant has got such a good long-run car here tonight. Even though Wayne Grossi came out on newer tires, was able to get by Mark Pageant, take that lap back. Mark Pageant has now put him a lap down once again here with now less than 20 laps to go here. Do a quick rundown of the field here. Mark Pageant in first place. Don Avery, second place, almost 10 seconds behind him. Greg Wychinski sitting in third. Ryan Strunk fourth. Al Kozlowski in fifth. Sixth place, Kenny Powell. Seventh place, Andrew Layton. Eighth place, Wayne Grossi. Ninth place, Josh Schaffner. And 10th place, Darren Mullins. Looks like Darren Mullins on the newer tires is starting to complicate things quite a bit here for Avery. Here comes Mullins, going to be trying to get around Josh Schaffner.
Yeah, not sure what happened there, but apparently I had to suffer a restart.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened.
You're going to have that on those big jobs.
100%. Avery, though, starting to struggle a little bit. Taking a look at the lap counter here, these guys are now about 38 laps, 39, 35. Some guys, you know, varying, of course, when guys pitted at different times. Soon to be, I know, 15 laps to go now.
And these guys have been doing exactly what they need to do. Mark Pageant, I mean, he did not end up being your series commander just because he showed up every week and sucked. I mean, he is out here, guys, because he has been the most consistent over the long haul. And that's what it actually takes to win championships. So kudos to that camp. I know those guys probably, you know, didn't really get a whole lot of love throughout the season. It seems like he came on really strong at the end of that thing, Brian. But, I mean, he's definitely doing what he needs to do now to get it done.
Yeah, he definitely is. We're taking a little bit of a cockpit camera here through Greg Wychinski's eyes as he is trying to catch up here to Don Avery. The battle for second, I don't believe, is over quite yet. We'll have to wait and see here because we know Avery starts to struggle a little bit in that 40-plus lap, area. We, of course, are in that, kind of zone right now. Oh, look at that. Avery even touches the apron. That is something you do not want to do at Dover.
Well, I got to believe, though, Don Avery, with everything that he has gone through this season and understanding that what's on the line here, Brian, for him is not a championship, but it's simply an opportunity to talk to Big Al. So I don't think with Sherry being under the weather, he is going to take this lightly. So with 12 laps to go, I think you're going to see him actually get really wide. His elbows are going to be out. He's going to be poised, super focused. And this guy is definitely going to be trying to do what it takes to win this thing.
Yeah, 100%. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I don't think he's going to be trying to win this thing, but he's at least going to be trying to get second and talk to you. And I think that's a win all on its own, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I talk to myself often, and I still don't take that for granted.
Greg Wachinski with a little bit of contact with the wall there, as we're verging on now 10 laps to go here in this 200-lap competition.
And we've seen a lot of drivers run into contact with the wall tonight, trying different things, different lines. But the one thing that stays the same, and that is it's the Monster Mile. Dover is definitely a track that is hard. It seems like it's really easy, but it's bumpy, it's lumpy, and it's humpy.
Definitely. Mark Pageant now has over 10 seconds on Don Avery. Last time by, Greg Wachinski and Don Avery turned the exact same lap time. So Greg Wachinski definitely needs to turn it up a little bit if he's going to want to have any hope. Oh, another more contact with the wall there for Wachinski. I think he is trying to turn it up, but maybe at his detriment.
But yeah, both him and Avery, though, they're at the end of their wit. This is the thing. They got 9 laps left. They're running very high end, racing each other, still competitive. And, it's just not an easy sequence that you got to go through. This is a track where you want to try to hit your marks and make your lines, man. But it's so tempting to try to swing that thing high around the outside to gain speed. But sometimes when you do that, Brian, you just come right off into the wall. Just Wachinski just hit the wall again.
That he has. Definitely a great showing for Ryan Strunk and Al Kozlowski, also sitting in 4th and 5th. We'll see if Al Kozlowski is going to be able to catch up here to Mr. Strunk. They're turning fairly similar laps with Al Kozlowski about a half a tenth quicker that time by. Of course, they are separated by, I do believe, just a little over a second right now. So can Al make it happen? One person I'm surprised is not stronger here tonight is Kenny Powell.
Well, you came into this contest singing the praises of Kenny Powell, saying that, hey, you thought one of the G&G guys was going to make this thing happen. Right now, Greg Wachinski is their only hope of trying to get one in the top 3 with 5 laps to go. They got Keselowski there bringing it across in the top 5, so that'll be 2 in the top 5, but that's far from a win, man. I think this is just one of those tracks where it's a beast.
Yeah, hard to predict. That's for sure. Who's going to actually come out on top? That's the thing. I think it's so hard to predict. I think next week's going to be even harder to predict, though. Charlotte, it's not on the official schedule. No setups, really. If you're going to have to build that from scratch.
We've run more laps at Charlotte this year, Brian, than we have any other track collectively. So I think these guys already got those setups dialed in. It was the all-star race. It was, they got. Yeah.
So you know how updates work, though. It might have been an update since then.
Look, I'll be there. Three laps to go on this thing here before Mark Paget can actually pull it over and call himself the champion. Not only was he the champion in championship form, Brian, but, I mean, you win the race and the season, right?
Well, yeah, and you got to even keep in mind, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Mark Pageant just coming off of a Super Cup championship also. I mean, remember that whole race where Clayton Hoffman, we were hands down saying that Clayton Hoffman is going to be the champion. Mark Pageant came out there and showed us different, and he's showing us different again here tonight too.
That was you that was saying that.
You right. You right. Come on now. Final lap. White flag is out. He's coming through 3 and 4. Going to be exiting onto the front stretch. Mark Pageant is going to do it with over 10 seconds. Now over 11 seconds. He crosses the line as your winner. Here comes Don Avery out of turn 4. He's going to cross the line as second place. Greg Wachinski's going to come home in third place. Kind of a close race here for this other position, but I do believe Ryan Strunk has secured fourth. Al Kozlowski fifth. Kenny Powell in sixth. Andrew Layton seventh. Wayne Grassi in eighth. Ninth place Darren Mullins. Josh Schaffner in 10th. 11th place, Derek Jacobs. 12th place, Wes Dobbs. 13th, Mark Sanchez. 14th, Paul Olson. I didn't even know Paul Olson ran here tonight. I didn't see him at all. Do believe he actually did not start the event here. But Mark Pageant, your winner, going to be definitely celebrating a win here tonight and a championship. While he's doing his celebrations here, we'll take a quick step away and we'll be right back with your post-race show.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I feel comfortable, bro. We get a hug. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
All righty, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely a lovely celebration there for Mark Pageant. Did a nice Polish victory lap and brought home the dub. But first, we're going to talk to the man we talked to at the end of Stage 2, Greg Wachinski. Definitely a really good showing there. It almost looked like you had second locked up. What do you think you needed?
I mean, I was kind of surprised to finish third there. I mean, there were other cars that were faster than me the whole race. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they just had worse pit stops. I was just able to get a good, clean pit stop and get out in front of everybody and get a third place.
Yeah, definitely seemed like, you seemed like you got better as the run was going on, too. I mean, I know Avery, once he got by you, you started kind of reeling him back in again. Was there any hope maybe that you were going to get back by him?
I mean, at that point, I mean, you just don't really have much left in your tires, so you just running as hard as you can. And I think he might have had a couple lap fresher tires than me. But I was just pushing as hard as I could, just didn't have enough.
We saw that wall kind of acting as a magnet to you. Was that an issue? Do you think that affected the car? How tough do you think these cars are when they hit the wall here at Dover?
I mean, I scraped the wall, banged the wall many times during that race, and it doesn't really affect it too much.
Well, you definitely had a pretty good showing here tonight, third place to wrap out the Cup Series season here. How do you feel about the momentum it carries into Charlotte next week when we start a whole new season?
I mean, Charlotte's fun. I enjoy it, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, so you definitely don't not too worried because it's not really on the official schedule. You think you guys are going to be able to kind of pick yourselves up by the bootstraps and get to work on it?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we're pretty competitive every week. We do a good job.
All right. Well, we definitely appreciate your time. Congratulations on your third place. Who can we give a shout out to after this third place finish?
ISCA. Kenny puts the league on. You guys that do the broadcast. All my pals over at G&G. I ran the monster car tonight here at the Monster Mile, so didn't work out like I'd hoped, but third's not too bad. But that's about it.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time, Greg, and look forward to seeing you next week at Charlotte. Thanks for your time.
Take care. See you guys.
All righty. That was Mr. Greg Wachinski, the 5 car, finishing in third place here tonight. Next up, Don Avery going to be talking to Big Al.
Hey, Don Avery, this is Big Al up in the booth. You got me. Breaker for Avery. You got me?
Yeah, Big Al, I got you. Sorry, wrong button.
No, man. Hey, look, it was an awesome season for you. You come in here tonight, you qualified this thing on the pole. Complete rocket ship, dominated the first 2 stages. Just didn't quite have enough to get it done for the end, but you still got to feel pretty good about it, right?
Yeah, we ran really good. I was surprised I finished as well as I did. Like I said before, I got some practice on the weekend and only ran 1 A Open this week. Finishing second felt good. Hats off to Mark. He had a rocket ship.
Yeah, but you guys collectively worked on this thing together, probably made some tweaks there. Like you said, you didn't actually have a lot of laps in on this thing, man. But Don, let's just be honest, man. You really gotten a lot better here over the season, right?
Yeah, I took a step back from Triad. I didn't have a lot of time to put in to help with setups and testing and things, so I didn't want to take advantage of their setups while I wasn't doing anything or helping them in any way. So I stepped away for a little while and tried some setup shops and didn't really have much success with that. And then I was able to come back to Triad full time, and their setups show how good they are, and running them has excelled me to the front a little further.
So with this season ultimately in the books and us starting a whole new season next week, hopefully you're going to be involved in that. With your addition to this team here, I mean, what do you think we can actually look forward to seeing in the future?
I'm good at the 1.5 miles. I need a lot of help at the road courses. Restrictor plate racing isn't really my thing. I don't enjoy it that much. But, keep working on setups, keep trying to dial in my throttle foot, get a little better on throttle off corners, and hopefully keep improving.
Well, unfortunately, we can't buy a round of beer for the second place finisher or the third place finisher. It only matters about the winner. But in our book here, man, you are a winner, always giving us something to talk about, positive things. Appreciate everything that the Triad guys have brought to this league, because it was really one-dimensional. And Brian and I were talking about that in the broadcast tonight where the Triad guys are coming in here, and you guys are actually giving the G&G guys a run for their money, and that's what this is all about. So kudos to you for being a part of that movement, man, and looking forward to seeing what you can do for us next season. Next week we go into Charlotte. What are you thinking they're getting this season started off?
1.5 miles I've done pretty well at. Hopefully the setup will transfer over to Charlotte, and save some tire during the beginning, and hopefully have some speed at the end to be near the front.
Well, heck yeah, man. We can't wait to see it happen here before we let you go tonight with your second place finish. Who you shouting out to?
As always, I'm shouting out to my wife, Sherry. I also want to shout out to Triad, especially Jeff Barnes and Jeffrey Souza this week for working on the setup so hard. And all the guys over there. Everybody's pitching in, testing, posting data. So that helps out a lot. Stent Analyzer, you guys up in the booth, Kenny for putting all this stuff on, and big shout out to Mark Paget for winning the championship and the race.
Roger that, Triad. We appreciate you, man. And I just want to say, Sherry probably gets more shout outs than anybody else in the ISCA. So, well, I don't think, but I just want to say to our viewers, I don't think that the S in ISCA stands for Sherry, though. But shout out to Sherry, too, man. Congratulations on you for bringing it into P2. And we look forward to seeing you get the season off to a bang next week.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Alrighty, that was Don Avery, our second place finisher. Next up is our Cup Series champion and race winner. And what's crazy about this man had a shocking upset in the Super Cup championship race, won that championship, turns around and then wins the Cup Series championship. How you feeling, Mark? I mean, you got to be walking on sunshine right now.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I mean, this kind of surprised me tonight. I knew we were going to be probably top 5. I didn't expect to have that kind of gap on the long run over everybody else. But yeah, it's been a solid past 2 months or so for Triad and me personally. It's been a good run.
That it has. I mean, now Don, kind of winning both of the stages there. Did you think you had something for him, or was that kind of the plan, just to follow him that kind of whole time and then play your cards, in that final stage?
So I think in the stages, Don actually had a better car than me. I was tight in stage 1, very tight. Tire wear was over 10% more on the right front than the right rear. And then I made some adjustments, closed that in. Was still a little tight in stage 2, so I took a big swing at it. I made multiple changes, pitting at the end of stage 2, and just happened to make the right setup adjustment.
Well, it definitely seemed like it worked out very well. You definitely owe your crew a beer for telling you, what to make the changes, or if you made them yourself there. But great job to you for sure. I mean, just fantastic showing to put an exclamation point on a championship too. I mean, it's got to feel good to win the race and the championship, because we've seen it before to where guys win the championship and don't win the race. I mean, does it feel better when you're actually able to get that race win?
Yeah, I guess so. In the Super Cup, it took that race win to beat Clayton. But really coming into tonight, I wasn't planning on winning, running up front. I just wanted a solid night because I had the points cushion that I did. So yeah, it's kind of surprising that I won tonight.
Well, you did. I mean, Dover, is this one of the tracks that you look forward to coming to? Because it seemed like the way you were out there driving it seemed like you got a good handle on this racetrack.
Yeah, I put it in the top. I don't dislike Dover. Yeah, it's a top 10 track, I'd say. Not my best. I really like the short tracks, but it's not a typical 1.5 miles, so it beats all those in my book.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely a great track for sure. Well, congratulations on your championship. I know a new season starting next week. Charlotte going to be on the docket. How do you feel about that 1.5 miles?
Charlotte is probably my favorite 1.5 miles. I always run really well there. Unfortunately, I'm about to do a lot of travel for the holidays, so I think I'm going to take the rest of December off. But it's going to be interesting. But I mean, after the Super Cup season and the 3 or 4 weeks we had after it, I'm kind of ready for a break. So yeah, I'll miss a few weeks and maybe see you guys in 2023.
All right, well, definitely sad to see it. Hopefully, at least tune in and cheer on your teammates.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure someone from Triad will still be here. So, yeah, whoever it is, I'll be in the Discord. I'll be in the chat helping them out.
All right, well, glad to hear that for sure. Well, congratulations once again on the championship. Who can we give a shout out to after a race win and securing that title?
Yeah, it's really a team effort over here at Triad. So, Don said the same people that I'm going to say. Jeff Souza, Jeff Barnes, thanks for all the, they were the heavy lifters on this set this week. So thank you guys. And the rest of the Triad team, whether it's just trying some shock settings here or there, or just giving an opinion on what direction we should go. It's really a team effort. So thanks to all the Triad guys and our sponsors that pay for all the pay for us to be here, pay for the practice servers, both on Triad, which is Stint Analyzer, Sousa Media, and then here for the league, for ISCA, for you guys, TLC for sponsoring this season, and Butt Kicker for the Super Cup. So thanks to all those guys.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate your time, and definitely, hopefully, you have some fun here tonight celebrating. Don't celebrate too hard, though. Thanks for your time, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
That was Mark Paget, our winner of the race and winner of the Cup Series championship here. Of course, you don't have to wait long because we'll have another championship or another season here starting very soon. But, man, what a race here tonight. Miles the Monster, I think, definitely got its feel tonight, wouldn't you say, Big Al?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was an awesome performance, awesome production. Once again, the ISCA guys don't disappoint. And for people that are watching this that don't truly understand, had we been covering this same race for this many laps with any other league, it would have probably been, 4 or 5 cautions. So kudos to these guys. I couldn't ask for a better group of individuals to come out here and watch. And shout out to TLC for coming along, being the title sponsor here for this thing here this season, as well as the UXO guys. Hopefully they can get some traction from this, guys. If you know anybody out there that wants to just get out into the outdoors, please, like, subscribe, follow us. Also, the ISCA got a lot of changes coming up here in this next season. If you know people that want to get into this thing that you think that might be good at it, get in contact with Kenny Powell. Just give me and Brian something else to talk about. And hey, also to Kenny Powell, man, for putting on this league, giving everybody a chance to do something on Thursday nights. Happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas. And to you, my co-host Brian, man, appreciate everything you do.
All right, we'll definitely appreciate everything you do as well. I think that draws us to the conclusion here of tonight's big race here, the Asus 200, Asus, however you say it. But we appreciate everybody out there tuning in. Make sure you tune in this coming up Saturday, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when the broadcast should be going live. Race will be starting a little after 9:30. We'll be right back here at Dover with a whole other group of guys that definitely going to be putting on a heck of a show. Can't wait to see what happens. Hopefully, we'll see Chris Severa coming back. Well, I'm not sure who the champion is going to be there, but I do believe some other people could have a chance to grab that trophy and run with it for sure. But and also make sure you tune in for the new season next week, Thursday, same time as this one here tonight, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Definitely pretty much the capital of NASCAR. So you can't go wrong with Charlotte, that's for sure. But we appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll see you next time.